Hello, and welcome to the Google Tools for Civics training. I'm excited to be here at the DINFO Social Media Forum. I know it's been a long time coming, but I'm really excited to kick this off with you all. Just in terms of introductions, my name's Maria Giannopoulos, and I'm a Civics Outreach Manager at Google. And I'm here to talk about all of Google's tips and tricks on how you can amplify your message online and establish your presence even better. So our agenda for today is a few things. First, setting up secure Google accounts as a team. Then, of course, appearing in Google search. Then amplifying your message with YouTube. And then, of course, protecting your organization. So let's dive right in. First, setting up a secure account as a team. So Google accounts really reflect the nature of your work and your team's work. So I have 3 different buckets here that outline what kind of accounts you might have. So in terms of your comms team or your public affairs team, you probably have some sort of like comms, .mil team account or a Gmail account that encompasses all of your social media accounts, things that you can use to claim your organization's knowledge panel, manage your YouTube channel, run those Google ads, things like that, things that'll stay within your organization. And then the other 2 buckets on the side here are your individual staffer accounts and your personal Gmail accounts. So this would be your .mil account for your personal, and then also your personal Gmail account. Really, we recommend that you house your Google Drive with those, you create docs, and then of course you watch YouTube on your own time or email folks back and forth. But really delineating those different accounts is important when you're thinking about how to house your different channels and also make sure that they're secure. So in doing that, we want to make sure that you have enhanced security for those accounts. So your kind of general comms team account, we want to make sure that you have the password saved in a password manager so that everyone can access it easily while also being safe online. And then make sure that it's not in a spreadsheet anywhere. It's right for hackers and attackers, so make sure that that's locked down in a password manager. And then for your individual accounts, make sure that you add 2-step verification. And a little bit later in the presentation, we'll talk about safety and security and how you can not only add 2-step verification, but also advanced protection program as well. So monitoring the safety of your Google account is important. At g.co/security checkup, you can see all the components in your account, what you're signed into, which devices you're using, and it's a great way to see the health of your account and the safety and make sure that no unintentional folks are accessing your account. And again, we'll go over that a little bit later as well. And then advanced protection program, I'll go into that in a lot of detail at the end, but google.com/advanced protection program. I'll say it a couple of times just so you remember. And then, of course, here are some resource links for your Google account, setting up that account, making sure that you have that shared account, and then managing those settings as well. So moving on, appearing in Google search, now that we have that shared Google account set up, it's really important that we assess how our organization, our principal are appearing in Google search. So how does it actually work? It's something that we utilize every single day. We ask questions. We really ask Google the things that we might not ask anybody else. If I were in person right now, I would ask you, what's the last thing you Googled today? For me, it was, what channel is CNN on? But, trying to figure that out is something that we all use Google search for. So how does it actually work? First, here's an example of our first president, George Washington, and his Google search. So first thing you might see is a Google ad. Next, you'll see organic search results. So the organic search results a lot of times could be a news carousel, could be a Twitter carousel, could be different articles on the internet or different websites that you might be linking somebody to. Maybe an enlistment form or something like that, when you're searching for the Army, the Navy, anything like that. So that's what you might see in organic results. And then, of course, you see a knowledge panel. So this comes up for organizations, public figures, anyone from Beyonce to George Washington, to any of the members of Congress, to generals, to the secretaries, things like that. Those are the folks that you're going to see with knowledge panels. You'll also see different organizations as well. So the different branches of the military, different nonprofit organizations, things like that. All of those have knowledge panels within Google search. This is how you would see it on desktop. On mobile, you'll see it right when you search for the term. It'll come up right in your search on mobile on your phone. The next thing that you might see is a Google My Business profile. So here you have George Washington's Google My Business profile. And of course, we're not in a business per se. However, there are physical locations that you have not only here in the US, but across the world that you can claim and make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. Say a base or something like that is transferring and it does appear in a business panel. You can change the address on there so that people aren't confused or go to the incorrect place. So that's something that you're able to claim, of course, with that shared Google account. And we'll go through the steps of how to do that in just a second. So what tools do you use to fully establish your organization on search? I alluded to this at the beginning. However, you can first claim your knowledge panel. So the knowledge panel is the George Washington's panel that came up on the right-hand side, and it's something that you want to make sure that you have ownership over, that you have the place to put your authoritative information into search. So how do you actually do that? Well, of course, knowledge panels spotlight that official information for those public officials, candidates, organizations, the different branches that I was talking about earlier. And this is really how people are searching for you and the information that they're going to see first and foremost. So you want to make sure that it's correct and authoritative. So in order to do that, you just sign in to your shared Google account. I'll say that many times during this presentation, but shared Google accounts are really important. Maybe as you move on in the organization, maybe you're, in a public affairs division, maybe switch to another one, or you become a reservist or something like that. Just make sure that it stays within the organization. So that's a really important thing that I'll mention throughout. And then next, just search for your organization or your principal, and it'll come up in Google search. Then scroll all the way to the bottom of the knowledge panel, and you'll see this little button here that says Claim This Knowledge Panel. And when you click the button, it'll take you to a page that looks just like this, and it'll say Get Verified. And once you do that, it'll ask you to verify that you are indeed an authorized representative of the office. So with option A, it'll show you a host of social media profiles, maybe your YouTube channel, your Twitter profile, your Facebook page, and it just really wants to know that you are an authorized member of the office that you are trying to claim the panel for. If those options aren't available, then option B should show up. It's a form that will take you through the credentialing process, again, to make sure that you are an authorized representative of the office. So here, of course, is an example of a claimed knowledge panel. You'll see the Claim This Knowledge Panel button missing. This is to the public eye, but how do you actually suggest edits to that panel? So we'll go through that process right now. So once you're signed into that shared Google account, once again, make sure that your web and app activity is not turned on by default, so you're able to see the Suggest and Edit button. So you see that right here on the top, and you're able to make authoritative edits to the panel, suggest and edit, and many times people place edits on their profile photo of their principal. Maybe it's out of date, maybe you just want to upload a new one that they've taken recently. You can do that as well. You can add additional education experience, update the links to your YouTube and social media profiles, really making sure that your information is the best and up-to-date and authoritative as possible when people are searching for you. So here are some details on the things that people typically suggest edits on. Unfortunately, you can't edit the Wikipedia snippet that populates in the knowledge panel or the people you may search for. Unfortunately, those come up as a result of organic search results. However, there are a whole host of other things that you can suggest edits for, like the photo and the social profiles. And you can see a couple more here as well. Now, I know I threw a lot at you, but here's some resource links on knowledge panels, getting to know how to claim it, making sure that you are able to suggest that authoritative feedback, and all of those links are right here for you. So don't feel like you have to jot them down super fast. I'll also make sure that you get the slides as well, because I know this is a lot of information to be thrown at you. So next, let's talk a little bit about business panels. Now, I told you at the top about, of course, we're not businesses per se, but we are organizations that have panels that can give folks information about our organizations. So, of course, you see the one here that I showed you at the top for George Washington, but there are different things that you can put on the business panel to make sure that people really know exactly what they're getting into when they come to your office. So of course, you can make sure that your business hours are up to date. When you're accepting phone calls from different places, recruiting offices, this could be really important for people who are maybe trying to walk in right now due to COVID, different restrictions. Making sure that those are on the business panel are always important. Also, make sure that you have photos of the office that you're trying to put out there. These photos can really help people who are searching for you figure out exactly what's going on at the place that they're trying to search for. Additionally, you can put events, you can put different quick links to get directions, and also to your website as well. So it's really kind of a one-stop shop for people when they're not only looking on Google search, but also if they're looking for your organization in Google Maps. So it's kind of a win-win situation, and you want to make sure that you're putting forth the most up-to-date information on the first page of search. So how do you actually get started? You can get started at google.com/business, or when you see one of your business profiles, it might have a little tag that says own this business. You can also click on that to get started. And make sure, again, you claim it with that shared Google account. It's really important, and I keep stressing it, but I don't think I can stress it enough. The shared Google account, make sure that you claim your business profiles with those. So once you do that, you can click on the button labeled View My Listing. And if you don't see it, you can actually click the button that says Not Showing Up. Then you can add the business info in case you might not see it in search, or you might not be seeing it populating when you go onto google.com/business. So those are some options for you to claim it. And when you do claim it, you can update your panel with our app, or you could just do it on desktop as well. Both are pretty easy, but you could snap a picture on your phone and upload it right there, which makes it really easy to change on the go. Now, I know I came at you with a lot on the business profiles as well. Here's some more links and resources on how to claim that, and different functionality that the Maps panel has. All right. So let's shift gears into talking about how to protect your organization. Of course, as we near the election and near different events in our nation, we're really having to focus more and more on security. There's tons of bad actors out there that we have to make sure that we're protecting our information from. A lot of times these bad actors, they're not looking for money. They're really looking for information and tidbits that they can use. So we want to make sure that you're protecting all of the accounts that you're using and really have all of the most up-to-date features. So first, I want to kind of talk about security checkup, privacy checkup, password checkup, and password manager. At the top, I talked about security checkup when I talked about those different Google accounts. But really, you can make sure that you manage third-party apps that have access to your account data, make sure that you check your passwords for security issues and more with the security checkup, so that if anyone is really trying to access your account, you'll know where they're coming from on a third-party app. You'll know if a different device has tried to sign into your account. And that's something that you can check up on your own in your own account, not only for that shared Google account, but also for your personal Gmail account as well. Because there are many different ways that attackers can try to get into your information. I know many of you probably work at places in the Pentagon or around in secure locations that have a high level of security. However, sometimes it only takes that one personal email for some bad actor to get in. So really making sure that you're doing some of these checkups to ensure that your personal information, your personal Gmail is not compromised as well. Additionally, thinking about privacy checkup, making sure that you have a personalized experience with your own data across Google services. And this is a way that we can help keep your data private, safe, and secure when you're not only browsing online, but also using all other Google tools as well. And then password checkup. To give you peace of mind with the passwords that you've saved, we really launched password checkup so that we can scan passwords and notify you if any of them have been compromised. And then, of course, password manager. This is one out of many password managers that you can use to secure your passwords. But passwords continue to be a major vulnerability when it comes to online privacy and safety and security. If I were in person, I'd ask you to guess how many people use the same password for more than one account. But in light of hearing crickets, I will just tell you 66% of people use the same password for more than one account. So, think that password 123, you'd be surprised on how many people actually use that as their password. The most common password is password. So make sure that you're not using anything like that, but really differentiate your passwords with different platforms and different sites that you're going on, because that really is an increased security risk. So we did build our password manager directly into Chrome to make sure that you can save your strong passwords, and really you have one password to get in the password manager, and then you can have even stronger passwords when you go into that. So all great features that you can use to really safely secure your online presence, that personal Gmail, that's something that's important as well. So I'm going to go through some of the steps on how you can protect your organization. So we'll talk through being vigilant of phishing attempts. You'd be surprised, even the smartest of folks can be duped by phishing attempts. Securing your accounts, making sure your software is up to date, and then of course, keeping important files in the cloud. So first we'll talk about phishing. So is phishing really effective? So you might think, who would fall for these things? And how are these things actually believable? But they are, and that's the most shocking part. So you can see all of these startling statistics here. 45% of the most believable phishing attacks trick almost half of users, which is insane to think about. And hackers really do move fast. 20% of accounts are accessed within 30 minutes of the person being phished. So really that person is in and out super quickly, and they have your information before they know it. And then, of course, thinking about 91% of information security attacks start with phishing. So phishing is a huge deal, and it's something you might not even be thinking about. So being vigilant is extremely important. So phishing is really an attempt to trick you into revealing your personal information. I said at the top that most often these attempts are not financially motivated. Typically in our space, it's about disruption of power, it's malicious intent, of course, with a lot of high security type conversations. foreign interference, things like that, you could really put your broader organization at risk by not being vigilant, not paying attention. So even if you get that email from, your buddy John or your pal Susie, really make sure that you're locking those things down, even if they're just jokes between colleagues or, a funny article that's being passed around. Make sure that you're looking at exactly who's sending that to you. If they're asking you for any information that might be a little bit off, just take a closer look. So right here, you see an attempt to someone has your password, change your password. It's really a trick into getting you to reveal your information. And it's a form of social engineering that you can use to reveal your passwords. So this page might look like a legitimate sign-on page, but it's actually a phishing attempt. So let's look a little bit closer on something that's real versus something that's fake. See these two panels? They look exactly the same. It's really hard to tell which one's real and which one's fake. Really, the only way that you can tell is because I labeled them at the top. So here you see a sign-on page. And how can you actually identify that it's a real Google sign-on page that's trying to get you to put in your account information and password? Well, first, you can take a look and see if the URL contains an HTTPS certificate. So that little secure lock on the top of your URL, that usually means HTTPS. It'll usually turn green as well. And then another thing to look at is, are the visuals low quality? Are they pixelated? Is something a little off about them? In this case, they actually look pretty similar. And then the last thing to look at is, where's the destination URL actually taking me? So it's really difficult to see on the screen here, but in the real version, this sign-on page takes you to accounts.google.com. However, in the fake account, that's actually the first part of the URL. So they put accounts.google.com, but then that's before their HTTPS part of their actual website and their actual domain. So you kind of have to see exactly where the domains are taking you and if they're trying to fake out a real domain in front of a fake one. So be extra vigilant on things that could be real versus fake. And even the most clever and vigilant folks could be faked out by something like this. So I recommend taking our phishing quiz. Even I have had to take it a few times to make sure that I got 100%. But visit g.co/phishing quiz. See how you do. I know that you all probably receive tons of emails, so I strongly encourage you to take this phishing quiz after our session. It's something that you can share with your colleagues to help them spot phishing attempts, and you'd be surprised on how many you get right versus how many you might not be able to figure out. So highly recommend. It's also something fun to just test yourself. All right, so how do we actually secure those accounts? I talked about at the top when you're creating your Google accounts to make sure that you have two-step verification. So within all of these different types of two-step verification, of course, you can get your text message, you can get backup codes, you can get a push notification, things like that. But that's only the first line of defense. Really, that two-step verification is an extra layer of security. And it's a strong piece of authentication that requires more than just your username or password when you sign in. Of course, it'll send you that 6-digit code or that text message or something that's generated from the Google Authenticator app. But we've seen more recently that attackers are becoming more sophisticated and actually intercepting those communications in order to phish users. So the strongest form of two-step verification that's virtually unphishable is a form of security keys. So it's an extra layer of physical protection on top of that two-step verification. So let's talk a little bit about where that lies in the hierarchy of security and why it's so important to have that extra layer. So the unphishable technology of security keys. So you see what they look like on the left here. You can also use your phone as a built-in security key as well. So even if attacker gets through your password layer and they intercept that text message code, they'll still need your phone or your physical security key to get in your Google account. And it's that physical layer that really deters them and denies them access to the account. So it'll ask you to verify your identity and the sign-in URL, and it'll actually block you from being able to sign in to that account if you don't have your physical security key. So even if that code was intercepted, they wouldn't be able to sign in unless you had that physical key. So you can purchase a physical security key. We have Titan security keys, or you can activate your phone's built-in security key if you have iOS 10 Plus or higher, or Android 7 or higher. That's something that I highly recommend, especially for users that are at higher risk, especially folks in the government space. People are looking for our information. They're looking at what we're talking about. Both foreign and domestic attackers are looking for the information that we have. So make sure that you protect it as best that you can. And we created the Advanced Protection Program to make sure that we leverage our powerful phishing-resistant technology to make sure that your information is safe and that we can protect you across the many ways that attackers are really trying to access your account and block them from phishing. And the program is free. All it requires is that physical security key or you to install it on your phone. So it's our strongest security offering, and it's really built to protect users. And I recommend that you install it and get one of those security keys to make sure that every single day of the year, you're ensuring that your information is protected and safe. So here's some more details. Of course, we talked about protecting against phishing, but of course, protecting fraudulent access to your data when you're signing into third-party apps, allowing your Google account to be utilized. This is also another way that it protects your information as well. And then lastly, it blocks malware. So if you're using Google Chrome, you'll receive a warning if you've downloaded a risky file or something like that. Really, all the reasons to get Advanced Protection Program are so important, not only this year, but going forward as we rely on technology so much, even during the coronavirus and beyond. So how do you enroll? Go to g.co/advanced protection. And of course, if you're having any trouble whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to us at civics-outreach@google.com. There's a slide at the end that has it blown up on the screen, or you can feel free to email me directly. I hope the folks, I know Sterling, hopefully he'll give out my email afterwards as well. If you guys need anything, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right, so keeping your software up to date. It's really important that in this day in technology, we're using our computers all the time. We may be at home. We're running our laptops 24/7. It's important to keep your software up to date, making sure you're running the latest version of all of your different programs. That's really where vulnerabilities lie. If you don't update them, you're really using software that has outdated maybe security vulnerabilities that somebody could come and take advantage of. So make sure that your software is up to date so that you kind of take that risk out of the equation and really install it as soon as it's available. I know it's really easy to click the Remind Me Later button, but make sure that you're providing auto updates, you're updating your software as soon as possible. And then last piece on security, make sure you back up your important files. So our advice, it used to be back up everything all the time in the cloud, put everything there. But with cloud backups, the guidance has changed. Potentially embarrassing content on your phone is encrypted. When you introduce cloud backups, it makes it more accessible. So figure out what's important and back that stuff up on the cloud, and then delete less important files. Make sure that you're not facing any risk by keeping those things that might be a joke or might be unimportant. So those are the 4 different things that I really recommend that you do in terms of security. So making sure that you're being vigilant on phishing, of course, securing your account. I can't stress Advanced Protection Program enough. And then, of course, making sure your software is up to date and then backing up those important files. So now that we talked about securing our accounts, let's shift gears and talk about amplifying our message on YouTube. I always think that this is the most fun part to talk about. I love YouTube and love the way that it gives us an opportunity to connect with millions of people out there, or billions. So we come to YouTube because we do all of these things. We sleep, we eat, we communicate, and we, of course, watch video. Video is a huge part of our day-to-day life right now. We're watching videos on our phone. We're watching videos on our TV screen. When there's no more Netflix shows to watch, we come to YouTube and, get even more content out there from creators. And it's something that you can do as well. So Cisco recently did a study that globally, video will be 82% of all consumer internet traffic by 2021, which is a staggering amount of internet traffic and a staggering amount of videos. Just think about your own video consumption and how it could lead to be this 82% numbers by just next year. So usually I'd ask, how many people do you think come to YouTube every single month? I gave a little bit of a teaser at the top. It's 2 billion people log on to YouTube globally every single month. So it's a huge audience of people that you're looking to reach, and making sure that you're reaching them exactly where they are. They're right on YouTube and you don't want to miss them. Here in the US, it breaks down to 228 million Americans. So that's a huge chunk of the population. And then in relation to some of the other platforms out there, it really does take the cake when you're thinking about reaching a vast audience and not leaving out any chunk of the pie. So making sure that you're connecting with folks where they are is something that I highly recommend on YouTube. And I'll go through some of the tips and tricks on how to reach folks and some of the best ways to utilize the platform. So YouTube is a video and search platform, and it has different goals than different forms of social media. So typically on YouTube, we prioritize views and watch time. And we look at search through impression share. So how many people are looking for that YouTube video? One of the most searched YouTube videos that I think about a lot is how to do a military press. Not only do people search for it on YouTube, but they actually also search for it on Google search, and it comes up with the YouTube video right in Google search. So it's something that is spread across all different sectors, all different questions, and something that we, of course, really prioritize on YouTube. On different parts of social, they really prioritize likes and comments. And it's a lot different on YouTube when you're thinking about getting those views and that watch time, and then also people who are searching on YouTube. Of course, what we all have in common is we want to reach your followers and reach your constituents. Now, of course, today, most of those folks are on mobile. You can manage your YouTube channel on desktop, but 70% of views are on mobile, and the average watch time on mobile is an hour per day. And that's a long time for folks to sit there and consume video content. And you'd be surprised to know that 95% of folks who are watching YouTube videos are actually watching with the sound on. So thinking about how you're prioritizing that content, how you're creating your videos is really important to cater to different audiences on those different platforms. Making sure that you have sound on videos for YouTube, but maybe, sound off videos for other platforms. So how do you actually set up your YouTube channel? I know most of you probably have YouTube channels Or if you're thinking about setting one up, here are some of the best practices on how to set up your channel. If you already have one, just take stock of your YouTube channel right now and see if you have all of these components and make sure that your YouTube channel is complete. So first, set up your YouTube channel. I'll come back to my example, Mr. George Washington. He is here on his plight in his channel art right here. And you see his channel, his name, his photo. You also see his description. Descriptions are really important on YouTube because not only is it a platform for videos, but it's also a platform where people are searching for things. So the more that you put in your description, the more that folks will be able to find your channel and your videos that come along with it. So set up your channel just in this way. Make sure you have, your clear name of your principal or your organization, a nice photo in the profile photo, and then of course the description as well. And make sure that your channel art reflects your community. So have folks out in the field, really showcase exactly what you want people to get out of the channel. And then in the setup, also make sure that you have a 1-minute channel trailer. So the 1-minute channel trailer right here is really welcoming folks to the channel, saying, hey, welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping. Here's what you might learn here. You can do it in one of two ways. You can set up a video for folks that are coming for the first time to your channel, welcoming them, getting them set up, giving them a guide of the channel. Or you can also put up a featured video for folks that are actually returning to your channel. So there's two different ways to do it, and you can have the functionality of both. The system will automatically know if somebody's new to your channel or a returning visitor. So that's something that I recommend because it automatically plays when someone comes to your channel. So get them while the iron's hot. Make sure that the video starts playing so that they can get whatever message you're trying to put across in your YouTube channel. And then, of course, make sure your channel is verified. All you have to do is submit your channel for a custom URL using the link right here, and then email us at civics-outreach@google.com if you'd like to have your channel verified. Happy to do it. I know I've done it for a fair amount of the Army folks that may be on the call today. I know Army bands, a couple of other folks have already gotten their channels verified. But if you need your channel verified, please feel free to email us. We're happy to do it for you. All right, so is there a guided tutorial for setting up a YouTube channel? Of course there is. Here's the Creator Academy link. The Creator Academy is YouTube's full training modules of everything YouTube. I always go to the the Creator Academy for a little bit more inspiration, and I implore you to do the same. But this is the guide to setting up the YouTube channel there. There's also some extra resource links for setting up a YouTube channel. I know if you're just getting started, it can be a lot, but here are some resources here for you as well. So now that you have a YouTube channel, how do you actually manage your presence? I always like to think about YouTube like this. Creativity plus searchability equals views. Now, I talked a little bit about the search piece of YouTube, but that searchability piece is just as important as what you put into your videos and what you're putting onto your YouTube channel. So I recommend to create a robust video description and index to put in front of a broader audience. So not only is it that description for your entire channel, but it's also a description for your videos as well. So make sure you have a 2 to 3 sentence video description of what your video is initially about. Is it about something in current events? Is it a training video? Is it, how to do that military press? What is the video actually about? And then the rest of the description can actually be about your channel or about your organization itself. So put links to related videos, put links to different channels or different social media channels that your organization might have. Definitely a link to subscribe. Make sure you put that in as many places as possible to get folks to subscribe to your channel. The more places it is, the more likely they are to click on it. And of course, kind of put a bio in about the channel. Describe exactly what you want people to get out of it. And then, of course, tag anybody that's relevant as well. Any collaborators on the channel. If you're having, different generals or something like that come into the video, make sure that you're, tagging them as well if they have a YouTube channel too. So another way to promote your YouTube videos, this is kind of that, mix of search and creativity piece, but really making sure you're cross-promoting them on different platforms. Of course, YouTube is a place where you can put your videos, but it's also a place that you can, take them and put them on different platforms as well. You can put them on different social media channels. I know it's important to embed your videos on Facebook and Twitter natively, but sometimes I recommend a link if you do have a longer form video on some of those platforms. Also, embedding in an email, your website, ensure that you can get your YouTube videos across in as many channels as possible. And you do have to allow embedding on your YouTube channel to ensure that that URL will actually embed in the website or the email that you're trying to use. So that's at youtube.com/features, and you can just enable it right there. It's really easy, and if you have any trouble at all, just let us know. But I really recommend cross-promoting your videos because that's really how you get the word out there and how you get more subscribers on your channel, more watch time, more video views by not only putting it on your YouTube channel, using those descriptions, but then also promoting it on other platforms as well. All right, so some tips to interact with your channel's audience. I talked about this, but those video descriptions are so important. Make sure that you're encouraging people to like and subscribe. Make sure that you have that robust description that really describes what your video is about. Of course, turn on the comments. It can be hard in the government space to see all those comments, but you can always delete comments or block users. You can also toggle the comments off if you don't want to feed the trolls. I also recommend using playlists to group your content by theme. Typically, people search for videos by theme or what they're looking for, and not necessarily a person or the type of remarks that are being delivered. So make sure that your content is thematic and that people have an easy time finding it when they're on your channel. So create a playlist, create a shelf across your channel so that people can look at videos of the same theme or grouping all together. And then, of course, interact with your audience by giving them shout outs, comment on their comments, subscribe to their channel, solicit ideas from them through the community tab. All great ways to get people to keep coming back to your channel. Another thing I want to mention is kind of those comments more in depth. So our top features, we have moderators who can remove comments on your behalf. So a lot of you probably have large teams, so you can put in some moderators to kind of police some of those comments. Also, you can block any words or comments that might be not great in the comment thread. You can also block any of those words that might be distasteful. You can also block links and hashtags, and those will be held for review. That's something that we have as top features, and I know especially in the government sector, we have to make sure that everybody's being polite and thoughtful in the comments. So those are some top features that can help you moderate. And then, of course, some top tips for you. Have a clear content management policy. Be clear on the words that you want to use. Of course, report hateful and offensive comments. That's really important that not only do you use the blocked words and the blocked links, but also flag anything that is hateful or really egregious on your comments. And then you can also change those settings in your YouTube studio as well. And then a lot of things that we've been hearing lately, some copyright stuff. I even have to admit, on a training video that we did, we played some music beforehand and didn't even realize that it could be flagged for copyright. So make sure that when you're, putting up music or something like that, that you really think about exactly what you're putting up there so that it doesn't get flagged by Content ID. So you upload your video, and we rely on YouTube to, you can rely on YouTube to detect Gotta get those notifications in, huh? You can rely on YouTube to really detect copyright infringement. So when you post a new video, our Content ID system can cross-check it with any content. For example, music or footage. I know this is a huge point with the Army Band. I know you guys, have really strict Content ID on some of your music. So that's something that you can rest assured will be detected by YouTube. And really it's based on the usage terms that the right holders have specified for their content. So your video could be tracked, monetized, or blocked. If you're trying to use some of the copyrighted material that's out there. So just be cognizant of what you're putting on. And Content ID is the way that we protect the rights of content users and right holders to support creativity on YouTube. So that's something that's important. But I have some tips to avoid copyright strikes on your channel. Before using a copyrighted music track, check the associated policy directly from the YouTube channel. Also, you can access hundreds of music tracks and sound effects free from YouTube's audio library. So, that's something that we've pivoted to using even in our own trainings to make sure that we're, rightfully using people's music and content. So that's a great way to avoid those copyright strikes, if you've faced any of those. And then, of course, if you see something you'd like to report, you can flag those here. If you think they violate any of our community guidelines, if you think it violates local laws, anything like that, feel free to report it. Also, there's more information on legal removals here. So I know I threw a ton at you. It's been almost an hour of me just talking, but here's a recap on all the things that we talked about today. Setting up secure Google accounts as your team. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Make sure you have a shared Google account for your organization so that all of your accounts can stay in one place. And then, of course, appearing in Google search, make sure you claim that knowledge panel, claim those Google My Business listings. And then, of course, protecting your organization. Make sure that you be vigilant of phishing attempts and really do those security and privacy checkups so that you're safe and secure on your online platforms. And then lastly, of course, use some of these tips and tricks to amplify your message on YouTube. So with that, let me know if you have any questions, any question at all, at civics-outreach@google.com. My name's Maria, and it was a pleasure to be with you all and a pleasure to give you all this information. I know it was a lot, so feel free to look through the slides at your leisure. And of course, ask any questions. Just reach out to us if you just want to, say hi, flag your information as a contact. We're, happy to receive that email too. Just know, who the contact is at the different organizations that are, at this training. Happy to, be here for you and answer any questions. So civics-outreach@google.com is your best bet. But of course, you can email me directly as well. It's just my last name, Giannopoulos@google.com. Feel free to reach out anytime. And thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon.